So for today's project, I've got a problem with the landing gear is moving very slowly, having a hard time lifting up the camper. As you can hear, the jacks are really struggling to extend. So what I'm going to do is I've already got it blocked up. Let me set you down here. Landing gear is already not touching the ground. And what I'm going to do is switch this over from one motor to dual motor. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a whole gear drive and mechanism to the non-powered side. So I got to pull this jack out, change the gears a bit in there. Well, I'm going to rebuild both of them, but I'm going to change this side to powered too. And then I 3D printed a switch plate for dual, so each jack will then move independently. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so the first step is you take the two bolts out here and at the other end, and you're supposed to be able to just remove that bar. That bar is the bar that transfers power from that motor to this leg. Now that we have that out, we're going to remove this bolt right here and this bolt right here, and supposedly that leg's going to just come right out of there. We'll see. I got the lower bolt out, and I spread the tabs with a flathead screwdriver just a little bit, and I got the top bolt out. Let's see if it just, oh, it does. It just wiggles right out of there. Look at that. Pretty simple. Now I'm gonna, you know what I should have done first? I should have done the quick extension, this latch, or the pin and the foot. I should have taken those off first. Let me get that and I'll come back. All right, pretty straightforward. The leg is out. So now taking those off was super simple. Got to remember to put the quick extension back in before you put the leg in, or else you won't be able to get it in from this height, because that's actually longer than I thought it was. So now I'm going to take the leg apart and look at switching over the gears to a powered side gears. This shaft won't work to drive with this motor. This motor has to mount on a flat side like that, and it has to have a flat, and this does not have a flat, it's round. But you can see this key is here, so that means this shaft goes in like this. The pin through the gear is there, this circlip right here is right here, but that means that this side is going to be to the inside of the camper. This is the side with the tabs that hold the jack up. And because those tabs aren't on the other side, there's none here, that means there's nothing to support the weight. So I'm going to have to cut a couple little tabs, like out of quarter plate, and weld them on in both equal positions, and then continue on with this project. Give me a few minutes. Okay, so I have the metal all prepped over here for welding on two little 1" by 2.5" tabs. And I don't know if you can still hear me, but my lovely wife is over there. She's cutting out the tabs on the plaza table. We'll come back over here when they're ready and get them welded. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I got the two little tabs cut, clamped on. I transferred the mark around to the other side, and I'm just going to tack them on, double check the measurements, and then weld them in. Okay, I took it out there just to double check that it fit right, and it seems like it fits perfect. So this is what it looks like. I got a couple bloobs from where the wire stuck, but that's going to be plenty strong enough to hold that on. This one's the one that actually carries the weight of the camper. This one just keeps it from sliding out while you're driving down the road, so that one's not as important. This one's pretty important. And I'm doing it in spot weld instead of a continuous bead because this tube is not that thick, and so I don't want to blow a hole through because it'd be a real pain in the butt to fix it on the inside. Now I'm gonna basically file those two sides, or sand these two sides smooth, because, oh, actually it doesn't even matter because the bracket's there. I'm gonna sand them smooth anyways just so they look a little better. My farmer welds aren't the greatest looking welds. Plenty strong, but they're not exactly pretty. And that looks a lot better. I should kind of get that top of that one, but anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. Now take it back out while I show you what I did outside. Welded up the new tabs opposite the exact same spacing on the opposite side. Gave it a quick coat of paint, and then I just took this and used brake clean to clean all the old grease off of it. I'm just going to use fluid film because I trust it as a pretty good rust protectant. I've also, as best I could, there's a bearing at the top. I repacked the bearing, which is, you know, the load for the screw that drives this, was almost dry. So I repacked that with marine grease, so it should be pretty sticky and stay there. This all goes on the top. So really I'm just gonna fluid film this section. Slide it up in there. Oh, something else you got to make sure of. You got to make sure of when this mounts in the camper, this is now going to be the outside wall. So if you want your quick pins, hold on, I'll get it real quick. If you want your quick pins to be forward, I'm not positive all the legs have holes on both sides. They might, but if not, you want to make sure that this is the direction, so that this is the outside to the side of the camper. I want my pin coming forward. So just something to check. On mine I can go both ways, but I figured I'd just mention that in case. Alright, let's reassemble the top. First goes a heavy duty washer, then goes the bearing, then goes this plate. This all goes down in it like that. I can get it to go. Then goes this thingy. This actually goes into this. If I can get it off now. This plate, the hole is big enough for it to go over this. So that goes right up against the bearing, and this plate goes right up against that. This whole thing then pushes in past this little horseshoe shape, then this goes across, and then this pushes back up. And I'm sure you got to get that little square thing in there. Let's see how good I can do this. Oh, it's right there. Come on. There it goes. So now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. This horseshoe thing is locked in, and the square is in there. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll move the camera and make sure you can see that. So this is the horseshoe plate. This square goes into there. The bearing is underneath that, and then the washer, and then that's the plate that's on the top of the bearing is this plate. Then the bearing, then the washer, then the screw. There's a washer that goes right there. Then this pin. And they didn't give you a new one of those washers, just so you know. And that pin like that. Your big gear. Should push down on it. Oh, it doesn't seem like it goes on very far, but I guess that's the way it is. We have these bronze bushings which go here and here. This comes across. And that's supposed to go in there, but it does not feel like that is down all the way. Like, I do not think that that gear is down all the way. Okay, that one fits. So this one, the gear goes. Let's see, compare those two. They look exactly the same. So let me go down. Huh. Well, it's almost like it gets a little snug. Let me give it a tappy tap. Oh, it went down. All right. So now this goes to this. Now it fits. Okay, well, we got to get that so it's at the top. Like that. This has got to go back in there wherever the flat is. Okay, that goes there. Now we need the pin. Okay, new split pin. Okay, and a new circlip. Okay, that's it. I'm just going to check this pin to make sure it's all the way. No, I can go. I'm going to tap it down just a little bit more so it's more even. A little more. That looks good. All right, now let me get a drive gear. Now this should go on like that. I guess it could go like that too. Doesn't matter. That way it's to the inside. And then your motor turns that. Okay, perfect. So now let's get some grease in there. I know this is a Make sure it's in all the teeth, no dry ones. Looks good to me. And then finally, we put the cover on. And they weren't kidding. There is a part number right there. All right, this leg is ready to go back in. So because there's going to be two motors in here, I can't do one switch right there, that top one. I've got to add two. So what I did, sorry for bumping you, is I 3D printed this, which is going to have the same bolt holes as that single switch and use only one side of each switch to extend and retract each leg individually. And then because I don't like relying on those cheap little switches, I wired together this power pack with relays. This basically is going to go over, 10 gauge wire is going to go over to the battery. Then this taped up wire is going to be low voltage, low current, that flips these relays, and they work in pairs. So normally these relays, I'll put a schematic on the screen. But normally both relays default to ground. If you want to extend, you flip this one relay and it will switch to power. So power will go positive, will go through the motor and come back ground through this relay. When you let go of the button, they both go to ground. If you want to go the other way, this one doesn't flip, this one flips to power, goes through the motor the other direction, and comes back to ground. This one does one motor, this one will do the other motor, and these two wires for each will go to each motor. And obviously if you're doing anything with 12 volts, you always want to have a fuse. So once I get it out to the battery, I'll put that in. So right now I am going to work on getting the switch out and all the wiring for that out, and getting the new relay pack and wiring in. This is the original motor. I'm replacing this motor with a brand new one just because this was getting so weak, this motor in this box. And I'm also going to replace this gear reducer with a new one and keep this one as both of these as a spare. So if something happens, they do work. I'm just going to put them in a box and keep them as a spare. The wiring goes from the motor up to the relay pack. And then there's going to be another set of wires that goes from these two wires over to the new motor with the new gear drive. The new motor, I'm literally, UPS is out for delivery. It's right down the road. And then I did the new switch with two buttons, so one will drive one and one will drive the other. And then that will be that. Oh, well, let me show you one other thing. So this, it runs 10 gauge. It runs 10 gauge all the way into here. I reuse this because we already replaced this fuse with a circuit breaker. So that's I think a 30 amp resettable, automatically resetting circuit breaker. So that's 10 gauge all the way into there. So I don't think we're gonna have problems anymore with it. I'll bring it back when it's done. Switches in. The new motor and gearbox on the what would have been the slave side is in. The leg is turned around. So you can see that this hump now is on the outside, or I'm sorry, the inside, and the welded spots on the inside. I still have to seal up down there, keep mice out, but pick up a little bit. And this is the motor on the other side. Then up there is the relay pack, which is pretty accessible. So if you just sit down in here, you can get right at it if there's ever a problem. All the wires are tied up neatly. No more crossbar going across the compartment. And you can move them independently. Extend just that one, extend just this one, retract them both, extend them both. Very happy, seems to work good. Thanks for watching.